Welcome back, archery friends. I know it's been a while, my bad. This is the time lapse of the arrow build that I did for John Dudley at Nock On Archery. I recently went to Boyne Mountain in Michigan, the tack up there, and I met John, and I had asked him if I could build him a set of arrows and send them to him to get his opinion on my style, my technique, and more importantly, get some constructive criticism on how I'm doing, what can I improve on to make the best possible arrow that I can. So that being said, let's get into it. I know I look tired in the video. It's because I am. I woke up at 5:30 this morning to start this process. So here we go. So the first part of the arrow building process I like to start with is using some kind of cleaning solution to get all the carbon dust off the arrows, which I did before I turned the cameras on. I used the wipes from AAE with their Max product line, and they get all the carbon dust off pretty well. So I start by wrapping the arrows. These wraps came from Whitewater Archery, the same company who provided the build mat that you see me using and other components for this build as well. And here's a good close-up of exactly how tired I am. You see me grab an arrow that I've already wrapped and wait for it. Up there it goes. I realized that I just almost messed up, and I grab an arrow that doesn't have a wrap on it. So after I finish wrapping the arrows, the next part of the process, at least for these gold tips, is I like to put in the nock bushing and glue it down, and then I will insert the nock once I have the entire set put together. The glue that I'm using here is also AAE Max Bond. The next part of the process is by far the longest and probably the most difficult, just because it's so tedious and so easy to mess up. So I'm putting the fletchings on the arrow shaft, and I do that after I've wrapped all 12 arrows and put all the nock bushings and nocks in. I'm using the AAE Max Bond primer weld pin as well as the same Max Bond glue. I'm also using a Bitzenberger fletching jig, and I have it set for a 3 fletch on about a 2-degree right helix. Now, after building dozens and dozens and dozens of sets of arrows, I found that it's best to work the back of the vane down and then press the front down and hold for no less than 12 seconds. And then when I released the clamp, as you can see, I wiped it off to make sure I had little to no excess sticking to the clamp, because that stuff will build up and actually move the position that your vane sits in the clamp, and you'll get inconsistencies. And lastly, I take a Q-tip and wipe off the excess. Now this part is something I personally do. I don't know if other arrow builders do the same thing. I like to call this wet weighting. So what that means is once I have all 12 arrows fletched up and ready to go, as you can see, I weigh out the shaft to see exactly what my weight is, and I find the shaft that's got the highest weight. and I put a little bit of glue down the front of the arrow shaft and try my best to get within a half a grain of where the heaviest arrow is. And what that does is, even when the glue dries, because the glue is a homogeneous mixture, when all the glue dries on all 12, the weights should be extremely close to absolutely perfect compared to each other. Once I get the wet weight dialed in, what I like to do at this point, before anything completely dries and causes a clearance issue, I take my insert, which these are 50 grain brass inserts from Ultra Arrows, and I like to put those in and get them all wiped down, so that way when it all dries, I don't have to worry about fitment issues. There you have it, another set built, and hopefully, John, I hope you're really happy with these. These are by far my best set to date, and I actually got the variance from the heaviest to the lightest under 1 grain, which is not so easy to do. So thanks everybody for watching.
Flex the arrow, crank the bow. Welcome to that archery guy show. Quivers packed, my aim's absurd. Hit subscribe, join the herd.